Here's my candidate for the worst headline I've ever been forced to read. It says, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are starting a Dogecast podcast to chronicle their government efficiency drive. That is the worst idea ever. You're gonna get Vivek Ramaswamy, who I would not want to listen to for 2.5 seconds, talk about literally anything, especially funding that he's identified in the government that he wants to cut. And then you're gonna add the raw charisma of Elon Musk to a long form audio format. And then you're gonna call it Dogecast. Dear God. Now I have no doubt that it's going to be wildly popular because for some reason our country is filled with a lot of men who have no idea what their role models should be like and choose monsters and grifters like this. But yeah, they're gonna do it. Ramaswamy posted on his YouTube channel, which he has. He puts videos up all the time and says the show would, quote, explain exactly what we're doing to the public and provide transparency in what is a once in a generation project. So they're gonna talk about it, that's true. Look, if you're a fan of this, you just need to understand, and you're not gonna trust me right now, but hopefully reporting will come out. What they're doing is engaging in the greatest intentional act of corruption that we have perhaps ever seen in American politics before. You're getting two wealthy men who are being given unprecedented license to just destroy any government funding they don't like, deregulate things, including their own businesses. They're taking suggestions from other CEOs and billionaires. Normally, these sorts of billionaires have had to go to a fundraiser and whisper in the ear of a senator to get what they want. Now they're being given direct control. If there's a deep state, this is what it is. The deep state is Doge, okay? But anyway, you'll see. Ramaswamy, by the way, already has a podcast called Truth. Elon Musk now is gonna have a podcast. And look, I want your thoughts, Viviana, but I just want to point out, I understand that I'm one of these guys. I've got a YouTube channel and we put it up as a podcast, but I will just say, I don't personally think that this should be the greatest aspiration that all of the richest and most powerful people in the country have. And it is. Every one of these, generally men, just wants a podcast. Matt Gaetz has a podcast. Ted Cruz has a podcast. They're all setting up YouTube channels and podcasts. There are more important things in the world, and you guys have endless resources. Elon Musk is a CEO of like 13 businesses, and he has 11 kids. And he also apparently has hours to devote to recording a pointless podcast literally every week. Personally, if I was an investor in one of his businesses, I'd be a little bit frustrated about that. I'd kind of want him to be working or something. But Viviana, what do you make of this?
I mean, I think the underlying trend of why these people are supported by the Republican Party is this, obsession with wealth. But also they think that these people are successful businessmen and they think that they can run the country better because of this when the government is not a business. The government has to set its budget a year in advance. That is not how business works. The government has to ensure certain procedural things to make sure that they uphold the Constitution. That's not how a business works. These type of people, I mean, Elon Musk did handsprings and cartwheels onto stage when he was campaigning. If that doesn't tell you the excitement of a very wealthy man, it's power. And you may have a podcast, John, but you are not overseeing regulation. And that's okay. And not a podcast inherently that's the issue. It's this intent to sort of put out a message and to get it pushed by people that believe that you can actually get that rich from nothing. And they don't even have the basics of what these people, Bezos claims to have nothing and built something. He had something. There are people who have actually nothing. So those people want to believe this fallacy and they're all on board and they think, well, if they can do this and that, then they can run this country better. And it's going to be a sober realization for a lot of people.
Yeah, look, even if I set aside my concern for the next generation that is growing up admiring people like this who give you every warning sign imaginable that you should not. What they're going to be doing, I hope that regular conservatives eventually figure out that what they're going to be cutting is things that benefit them. Like, oh yeah, no, you're super happy that they're going to try to remove funding for Planned Parenthood, which they're saying they want to do. They literally want to go after progressive groups. Remember the thing that there was like a years long news cycle about the IRS supposedly doing for Republican organizations that it didn't actually do? They're saying they're going to do that. They want to remove funding for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. It just funds local news. Like it literally is going to contribute to more elite control over the news that you have access to. That's good for free speech somehow, good for the First Amendment. And also, like they say they're going to cut $2 trillion from the budget. And when you ask them what programs they're going to cut, oh, they've got specifics. It's public broadcasting, Planned Parenthood, things like that. You add all that up, it's like 0.001% of what they want to cut, which seems like there's a little bit of a mismatch there. I mean, they have this gargantuan task, and then the things they're being specific about have nothing to do with the size of our budget. It's almost like this is just selectively weeding out anything that's a challenge to their power. It's why I'm so frustrated when people refer to this as a populist movement. Handing over direct control to the wealthiest people in the country is not populism. If it is, the word no longer has any meaning and we need to move on to something else. Okay, when you're gonna be funding your tax cuts for billionaires by cutting food stamps, that's not populism. That's not what that is. I'm very frustrated with a lot of aspects of our media. Anyway, any other thoughts before we move on? I'm
The
just
other
making
thing
myself mad at this point.
is support for small business. They can't wait to get rid of small business. This is going to say like a sobering reality for a lot of people. They're going to cut Social Security. They're going to cut any program that is not benefiting them directly and benefiting their bottom line. Because when you try to save that billions of dollars, it's going to come from somewhere, and it's going to come from everything that anyone who is not super wealthy takes, for granted at this point. It's a monopoly. We have fought monopolies in this country for really hundreds of years, I guess, pretty much since the inception of this country. So this is sad. We're going towards this trend again.
They're gonna cut conservative people's Medicaid. It's madness to me that they're
and
Social Security, yeah, and force them to retire years later. Like people experiencing economic stresses so dire that it leads them to vote for a party that's already promising that they will make things worse for them with their tariffs and their cuts. It's insane.